Today we have one of the top landscape architect here in the Philippines, multi-awarded with experience from Hong Kong and Singapore, and he is also the landscape architect behind a lot of our projects, including the clubhouse at Monterrazas, the Montesima clubhouse, as well as the Rise at Monterrazas. It's truly an honor to have architect Efren Aurelio with us today.
Thank you.
He's also the landscape architect behind Greenbelt Park in Makati, the Ayala Country Club, the Henan Resort in Bohol, siya rin gumawa, and even here in Cebu, siya rin, sobrang ganda guys, the Tambuli Resort here in Cebu, the Grand Hyatt in Hong Kong, and the Sheraton Hotel in Singapore. We're gonna cover a lot today, from large-scale projects, pati na rin sa mga bahay natin, kung anong pwede natin gawin. I'll ask him personal questions for my own house as well as very specific questions like, ano ba difference ng landscape architect versus a landscaper? We're also going to cover topics like sustainability, how you can help cool your home, help cool your environment, how to change the feel and the mood of your environment just with landscape architecture. For students naman na gustong magiging landscape architects, what does that entail? Ano ba talaga yung scope of that profession? And how does it contribute to our being plantitos and plantitas? That's everything today. Starting a business today is all about getting yourself out there online. And studies show that customers trust brands with websites more than the ones with just social media presence. So, if you're an older millennial like me and you don't know how to code, in fact, most people don't, here comes Odoo to save the day. They are a Belgium-based ERP software providing over 70 types of business functions ready to use. If you want to build your official website, try Odoo's website builder. It's free, accessible, and easy to use. So I actually tried it out to create a website of light panel. It was super simple. I just signed up with my own email address and started with website. It has an AI designer to guide you to make your website match the vibe of your company. So I just dragged the logo of Light Panel and it used our logo, the Light Panel logo, to create the palette and templates for the website. The website builder asked me what this business was all about, so I typed in lightweight concrete, and the AI generated texts and templates were very in line with what we wanted to say: sustainability, lightweight, and how it benefits your customer. Although you still have to tweak it just a little bit to be exactly how you want it to be. With Odoo Website Builder, you can simply type, drag, and drop the design blocks. It's almost as easy as making a PowerPoint presentation. And they even also provide ChatGPT integration that helps you create suitable content. So try out Odoo's Website Builder for free, link in the description box below, and upgrade and reshape your business today. Hey guys, so welcome once again. This is a continuing series that we do wherein we talk to the experts. So we've talked to experts in construction law, we've talked to experts in soil, and now we have another expert with us. I feel so blessed to be talking to the top minds of the construction industry, and you guys love the interview series so much. We have here one of the top experts in the Philippines when it comes to landscape architecture naman. We have here Architect Aurelio.
Thank you.
So Architect Aurelio, I understand you were in Hong Kong and Singapore first 15 years of your career,
Yes,
architect.
yes. Yeah, I started in Singapore for 4 years and 11 years in Hong Kong. So during that time, I was fortunate to be able to work on international projects by famous landscape design firms.
So how did that come about, architect? Were you always into like landscaping and this space? How did that come about, and how did you end up in Hong Kong?
Initially, I was taking up architecture in the University of the Philippines in Diliman,
Okay.
and then shifted to landscape architecture in my third year because it's a new course, and I was thinking it might be the right course for me. So I studied 1 I worked for 1 year in Manila with my professor, I.P. Santos and Associates. He was my professor at the pioneer landscape architecture in the Philippines. And then I went to Singapore, worked for Bell Collins and Associates in Singapore, stayed there for 4 years, and then 11 years in Hong Kong.
Wow.
During that time, I worked for another international firm like Towers Morgan, Orbis Towers Morgan, and we worked on different projects in Asia, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand. So in all those years, I learned a lot, and then came back to Manila in 1996. And during that time, I set up my own office here in Manila.
So 1996, 15 years before 1996,
Yes.
you've been already working as a landscape architect and until now. So ang lawak na talaga ng experience.
I've been working for about more than 40 years. And I should say I'm enjoying it.
Kailangan pala kita dalhin sa bahay ko. Kasi kailangan ko ng tulog doon.
Yeah, anytime. Malapit lang naman ng Cebu.
Yeah. But I was telling you the story kanina na when I started with my house, there were several landscape architects that approached me and said, hey, we want to do your house. And I was like, bakit ko kailangan ng landscape architect? Meron naman akong landscaper. Anong masasabi mo doon? What's the difference and how do the two work together?
Landscape architecture is medyo broader ang scope niya. It's more of master planning, site planning. It's working on bigger scale of development. We're doing master plans for townships. We're building parks and playgrounds, town plazas, that kind of thing. But we also work on smaller projects like residences. So it's not really confined to big scale development.
Yeah. How is that different from mga landscaper lang talaga?
Landscaper, they basically design the areas around the house and beautify it. It's more for rest and recreation of the owners. While doing sa landscape architecture, more or less it deals with more population. It's more of a community, more of
parang mas malalim
yes.
technicalities that are involved.
We study the demographics of a site or the community. We study the psychology of the people, the economics of a certain community, and from that we arrive at different design schemes for the development of a certain area.
Diba itong parang master planning of the landscape, how do you make sure that, as I understand it, a lot of the climate, a lot of the feel is not just dictated by the architecture, but also the landscape architecture.
Yes.
How do you maneuver or design the place to make it feel like home, make it cooler, to direct the wind?
Yeah. Important ng climate sa landscape architecture. In fact, ang landscape architect, minamanipulate niya yung climate to the use of design. For example, sa Pilipinas or sa Southeast Asia, most of our prevailing winds are coming from the northeast. And yan yung amihan. Ang habagat, doon naman sa opposite sa southwest. But yung during amihan, kailangan natin yung wind kasi yun yung time na mainit eh. So, pwede nating i-divert yung flow ng wind to the use of trees, to the use of plants. We channel the wind and the breeze. We channel them to the areas where we need the wind and the breeze most. We can use walls, we can use hedges, we can use the elevations of the trees to divert the winds inside the house and inside the garden. And aside from that, ang pinaka-masawa kasing situation sa Pilipinas or sa Southeast Asia, yung humidity.
Yes.
Ito yung tinatawag sa Tagalog na alinsangan. Humidity is the amount of water in the air. Pag dumami yung humidity, napaka-uncomfortable sa tao. Pawis ka palagi, naiinis ka.
Totoo yun.
Dahil sa alinsangan, diba? We have ways of dealing with that. Number one, mechanically through the use of electric fans. Kasi pinapabilis mo yung takbo ng hangin para mabawasan yung humidity. Pero as I mentioned kanina, pwede tayong yung Landscape Architect gumagawa siya ng paraan para pabilis yung takbo ng hangin.
Okay. Does having plants inside your home help also? Does it make your space cooler? Is that a real thing?
Siguro, pero psychologically it does a lot.
Oh, just by looking at something.
Just by looking at it, maganda yung feeling mo pag merong vegetation inside the house. Especially nice plants like lapis or philodendrons, those kind of plants.
For example, if I have a home, but my home is small, I don't have enough space for landscaping, or maybe I live in a condo, what are the things that you would recommend when it comes to yung landscaping or mga plants na ilalagay ko?
If your home is small, relatively small, what you're trying to achieve kasi is the feeling when you're there. Pag nakaupo ka doon, meron kang restful mind. Ang hanap mo yung recreation, relaxing.
Yes.
So, ang intent mo talaga is to sit and enjoy what you see.
Yes.
And what you will see are composition of plants. Nice composition. You want to see the leaves, you want to see the flowers, you want to see the birds, and yung mga paro-paro, ganyan. You can do a lot with a small lot by careful manipulation of hardscape elements, the paving, the walls, the furnitures, especially, of course, yung composition ng planting. Ikaw ang mag-enjoy dyan.
Would there be any specific suggestions that you would recommend? Sabihin natin, ito angst ko sa mga condos na parang feeling ko hindi nagsisirculate yung hangin. So ano bang mga pwede natin ilalagay doon? Would it be a snake plant? Kailangan mo ito. Sa tinagtatawa
Well, to make the place comfortable, yun nga, dapat invited mo yung hangin. How can you get the air or the wind to come in by having electric fan, of course, and diverting the wind to your to where you want it to go.
So it's not just about, okay, tanim na ako, okay na ako. So there's more to it than just that.
Yes.
Kadalasan kasi yung mga, when it comes to like mga home projects, like, mahal talaga yung mga tanim. Are there ways to save, go around that na parang mas affordable, mas approachable yung landscaping?
There are two things to do that. One, again, yung hardscape at saka softscape. Sa softscape, doon sa mga halaman, kung medyo budgeted yung pera mo, you can buy small plants. Padamihin nyo, palaguin nyo. Kung hindi ka naman nagmamadali, you can wait for like 3 months, 6 months, and lalaki rin naman yun kasi pag bumili ka ng full-grown na, mahal siya. With regard naman sa hardscape, you can choose. Hindi naman lahat ng mahal na nagamit sa hardscaping maganda. Really depends on the planning, the taste of the landscape architect or the owner. Pwede naman mga simpleng materials lang and you can beautify it. So,
parang sa bahay lang namin yun na, if I remember correctly, we got a little bit of Bermuda grass from my dad's house and then patches na lang nilalagay until it grows. Para mga...
grow, yes. Will grow. Ganun talaga.
Tipid tips. You mentioned kanina about hardscaping. What is hardscaping for those trying to...
Landscaping is two aspects. One is hardscaping and the other one is softscape. Softscape are yung mga halaman, mga trees. Yung hardscape, these are all the hard elements in the landscape. Katulad ng paving, furnitures, pergola, trellis.
Everything around that landscape,
Yes.
the
Tapos marami pang nasa ilalim ng lupa. Yung mga pipes na ginagamit sa watering, yung mga pipes na ginagamit sa electrical conduit.
Yes.
So all of these things are underground. You cannot see them, but they're part and parcel of the landscape works.
Oo. Something similar na ginawa natin sa The Rise of Monterrazas is yung irrigation system.
Yes.
Is it expensive to maintain something na para kung bahay ko, ang dami kong greens kasi gusto ko, is it expensive to maintain that, or are there ways around it?
With regard to maintenance, pag sa bahay, in fact, karamihan ng may-ari ng bahay, natutuwa silang i-maintain yun.
It's part of the fun of it.
Part of the fun of it, yeah. Meron akong isang bahay na ginawa sa Wakwak in Mandaluyong.
Yeah.
Nato rin ng award.
Talaga. Oh, by the way, guys, si Architect Efren is the most awarded landscape architect in the Philippines.
One of the
most.
So
yeah, we're in the presence of the top minds of the industry.
yung bahay na sinasabi ko is 3,000 square meters. So it's big. It's huge for a residential lot.
Yeah.
So, meron silang hardinero. So initially, nung bago kami dumating, yung hardinero nila parang walang na-achieve dun sa 3,000 square meter lot. Kasi yung sistema niya, hindi concentrated. So, in-advise ko yung hardinero, dapat, kung ganyan kalaki yung garden mo, i-segment mo yung garden into 5 segments. You do a certain area for Monday, you do for Tuesday, for Wednesday, para meron kang na-achieve, meron kang nakikitang na-achieve. Kasi pag malaki, wala kang na-achieve.
Maganda yun. Gawin namin sa bahay. Kasi, ayusin natin. The next na naman, may weeds na.
Yan.
So wala siyang schedule.
Dapat meron schedule.
Oo.
Tapos number 2, ang advantage nun, makakatipid ka sa tubig. Kasi, i-water mo lang yung pang Monday. Hindi mo kailangang i-water lahat.
You don't water the plants every day?
Every day. Kunyari, usually every other day ang watering. Merong iba nagwa-water every day, pero hindi naman kailangan Lalo na kung rainy season.
Pag maganda talaga yung landscaping, sometimes parang it can even be okay lang yung architecture ko, it's a normal and hindi siya masyadong exhibition, pero pag maganda, it really truly feels like home.
Yeah.
Pero I understand also from the business perspective, maraming spaces na nasa-sacrifice. Those are going to be usable space, sellable space, rentable space. What's the trend now when it comes to making it greener, making landscape being more of a part? And is the business practice leaning more towards na mas marami na yung landscaping na ilalagay?
Yeah. With regard to that, meron kasing minimum na open space na nire-require ang government.
Meron na. Yes.
Pero aside from that, yung ibang developers are going beyond that.
Yes.
Nag-offer pa sila na mas maraming open space just to be able to be competitive. For example, yung isang project ko sa Toril in Davao, pinagawa kami ng landscaping for the open space. So we created a nice big swimming pool. Ang kagandahan nun, it's 200 meters above sea level with a view of Davao Gulf and the city. And we created a beach approach swimming pool. So mayroong beach, may beach volleyball. We planted very mature trees like 2-story high or 3-story high coconut palms. Malalaki na. Tapos matured plants. Napakaganda, mayroong infinity pool overlooking Davao Gulf. So, ang nangyari nito, nung natapos yung project na yun, biglang tumaas yung sales nila. Sales ng subdivisions. In fact, naubos. Naubos yung inventaryo, nagpanic tuloy yung client. Wala na tayong pagbibili. Kailangan mag-develop pa tayo uli. So, yun yung mga unseen benefits ng having a nice landscaping.
Yes, yung you spend a little bit more, but it adds a lot of value
Yes.
to everything else.
Yes. Tapos, because of that, tumaas yung presyo ng mga lote nila.
Yes.
Tumaas. Naging very much in demand.
That's good to hear, no? Na parang hindi na siya considered na nababawasan yung space ko pag ginawa ko to. Oo, mas ano na ng
Nare-realize
mindset.
ng mga developers yun, yung benefits ng nice landscaping. Yung isa pang factor, yung ginawa naming resort na yun, naging popular sa Davao. So maraming nagpupunta, ginagamit for events, for weddings, for birthdays. Kaya tuloy, yung every weekend for the whole year, nakabook yun. So that's one of the reasons naging popular yung property na yun.
Si one of my partners, meron silang Bukid Amara in Davao. I don't know if you know him. He's from UP also, si Mike yung pangalan. He's a horticulturist.
Okay.
Tapos, gumawa sila ng flower farm doon. It's a space where parang doon lumalabas yung tubig. There's a term for it that you're not supposed to use that property because doon parang meron siya. So they converted it into a flower farm and yun, it actually invites a lot of people to go and visit and parang recreation na lang. So ang ganda din na it actually there's a trend towards that direction.
Yes.
So when you approach a certain project, let's say for example the rice at Monterrazas, what goes through your mind? How do you make sure that the species that are placed are the right species? At anong mga how does it go about?
Yeah. The rice, one unique thing about that place is its elevation. It's kind of high compared to the other developments. It's on top of a mountain. And what's good about it is it has a very nice view of the city and the ocean beyond. So it's like you're being in Victoria Peak in Hong Kong, looking down to central Hong Kong and Kowloon. So it's very beautiful, especially at night. And because of that, we have to be particularly cautious about the certain species of plants that we intend to use kasi mahangin dun. Because of the wind and the breeze, the strong wind, kailangan yung gagamitin natin dun sa mga species ay very strong against those elements.
Mas hardy siya.
Hardy, oo. And of course, sa planning namin, we want to preserve the views as much as possible. Ayaw natin ma-block yung mga view but still give it a nice vegetation around the development.
Singit ko lang dito kasi you were mentioning kanina about preserving the trees of the area and meron kasing mga misconception that yung yung location of the Rise of Monterrazas, merong mga forest. Ang ginawa talaga namin is we documented all the species, right? And we checked it and you've seen the site yourself.
Yes.
Kumusta naman?
Maganda yung site. Pero karamihan dun, wala talagang existing trees. So, wala halos na pinutol na trees dun sa project site natin.
When do I say, okay, this is a tree and versus what is mostly on site is vegetation? Where is meron ba yung specific, I don't know, hindi kasi ako marunong, pero may diameter ba yun of the trunk or shrubs lang ba siya?
Yeah. Usually, pagka sinecheck yung mga existing vegetation or trees, ang limit dyan, 4 inches caliper or above. Yan ang dapat mong i-preserve.
Okay.
Smaller than that, medyo lenient na yung mga authorities about that.
Kasi sa amin din, when it comes to development, when I see big trees, I feel like it contributes a lot to the development.
Yes.
Instead of like cutting it down or like, okay, pagandahin natin yung architecture, let's just cut the tree. But I feel like it adds more to it because these things are parang hindi na natin mapapalitan. Ang hirap na talagang palitan. So that's kind of like, I just want to be sigurado lang, we're talking about preservation and then to the rice, wala talagang forest on site na nandun.
Yeah.
kailangan din ba siya na, okay, sabihin natin, okay, since the rise at Monterrazas, massive siya, do you take into consideration how it's going to be maintained, how the long-term effect of that also?
Yeah, maintenance-wise, as I mentioned kanina, kailangan very hard yung mga species na pipiliin natin. Because of that, it's not only the plants, even the hardscape
The
elements.
hardscaping.
The materials, it has to be, it can withstand wind, of
Yes.
course. It can withstand the weather and adverse conditions environment.
Yeah.
We also take into consideration, of course, the enhancement of the environment, the preservation of the environment. That's very important in our profession.
Yes.
We always, first and foremost, we want the environment to take first place. We are environmentalists.
So is there a specific species that you have to choose to make it environmentally friendly?
There are two things. It has to be sturdy and strong, but it has to be beautiful and nice. So, mahirap kunin yung ganung kombinasyon. Eh. But through our experience and expertise, we can choose plants that are suitable to this kind of conditions.
So, yung pag sinabi mong environmentally friendly because you place greenery, di ba? Is there more to it than just placing plants there and calling it environmentally friendly?
Most environmentally friendly plants don't require much watering.
And
That's
easy to maintain.
easy to maintain.
Yeah. Endemic din. Kailangan endemic yung species.
As much as possible.
As much as possible. Yeah.
Tapos, and they have to be hardy, as I said kanina. Less of the leafy plants, yung mga malalapad na dahon. We try as much as possible to huwag gamitin yun kasi mapupunit yun sa hangin. Although maganda yun, but in sheltered areas, we can use them. Sa mga areas na hindi naman hinahangin. But mostly for yung talagang sa labas, mga hardy plants na kailangan to.
As a landscape architect, ano yung mga challenges that you face? Does everybody need a landscape architect? Ano pa yung mga insider na mga challenges na you want to share with us?
Yeah, maraming challenges for landscape architecture. One of them is the client itself, the owner. Meron kasi silang perception. Even before the project started, meron silang mga preconceived ideas on how they want to develop a project. So when the architect, the planner, the landscape architect come in, meron din silang mga ideas. So minsan nagka-clash yun. So of course, ang masusunod pa rin dyan yung owner. But the designers or the architects can suggest. One of the things tungkol dito, yung kunyari yung terrain, gusto ng owner patag. So we have to educate them na mas maganda yung undulating. Kasi it gives it character, provides you with different vistas, provides you with different sightlines.
It takes you more on a journey. It's like seeing everything.
Yes, kasi pag flat, ando na lahat.
Ano na lahat.
Samantalang yung undulating merong mystery.
Yes.
Na natatago. Hahanapin mo pa.
I imagine it must be frustrating for you.
For example, itong papakita ko sa picture. This is a series of stairs coming from an upper ground to a lower ground. Na the landscape architect purposely dinesign niya to with a series of platforms. Hindi straight line going down. The platforms are romantic venues for seeing the views. So, dun sa mga platform, meron kang furniture where you can sit, you can talk, pwede mo akbayan yung girlfriend mo while you are looking towards the beautiful view.
Yes.
Napaganda niya yung landscape architect, napaganda niya yung series of experiences from the top to the bottom with this manipulation of the landscape element of steps.
Yes.
Simple steps. So that's one of the answer to the challenges in a certain situation.
This is something that I learned recently from you and yung mga birthday consultants natin na when you take people on a journey, even if the walk is long, as long as hindi siya straight or totally flat, the walk seems easier.
Yes.
Even 1
Questionable.
Yes. Iba yung feel, iba yung vibe, and lalakarin mo instead of it being uninviting na sidewalk lang siya straight lang.
Yes.
Diba?
Yes.
So, kailangan mo talaga tong i-bring up na to your clients.
Yes. Yeah, we call that educating the client.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but
Oo.
it has to be done.
Well, you've educated me a lot. As a developer, nakikita ko, okay, ito yung vision ko. Gusto ko vines, ganito. Gusto ko ganyan. And then, without like really knowing the depth of what I'm asking for, is it possible? The maintenance issues, is the species that I want actually available in the Philippines? Pwede ba? Hardy ba siya? Ganyan. Ang dami talagang mga aspects na kailangan i-consider, no? Yung the rise at Monterrazas, would you consider it crazy or would you consider it easy?
It's easy.
Easy lang.
Kasi,
Easy lang.
straightforward naman yung design. Meron kang sloping ground. So, hinad mo yung bundok
Yes.
to create something like terraces, which is really beautiful, di ba?
Okay, so architect, what was your favorite project that you worked on?
One of the favorite projects I worked on is the Greenbelt Park redevelopment.
Akala ko the rise at Monterrazas.
Oh, it will come to that.
What about the Greenbelt Park project made it so special?
There is an existing park there actually before. It is owned by Ayala Land. They want to develop a shopping mall around that Makati area. But there are many existing trees. So, iba yung plano ng architects, iba yung desire ng mga owners at saka yung environmentalist. Kasi with the design of the architects, the foreign architects, they want dun sa gagawin nila, maraming trees ang mamamatay, puputulin. So, naging decision na i-preserve yung existing trees, mag-adjust na lang yung building. So, nasunod yun, maraming trees ang na-preserve. Pero what's beautiful about that is yung landscaping ang naging main factor ng development. Kasi kung matatandaan mo yung Greenbelt, dinevelop yung buildings like 4 stories. May mga verandas yun eh. Veranda sa ground floor, second floor, third floor, and fourth floor. Lahat ng verandas na yun ay restaurants, al fresco dining. So, it's a nice dining area, 4 levels, pero all of that are facing the beautiful garden downstairs.
Yeah.
And then, of course, meron siyang central plaza na nakadigit doon sa building. The central plaza has 20 numbers of 3-story high royal palms. Napakataas. Tinanim nun, napakataas na. So, napakagandang park yun, yung plaza, I mean. Katabi nun, merong pond, merong waterfall, merong fountain. And really, the birds came back. Pagkatapos nung nagawa yung park na yun, bumalik yung mga ibon. So, nagulat nga ako eh, kasi wala dati yun.
And in the space of Ayala, credit to them, that was very innovative.
Yes,
in their
yes.
time. I was actually, I don't know if you know him, Ridwan Kamil. So Ridwan Kamil is an architect in Indonesia. He was here recently, we had a meeting. And then he's sobrang sikat sa Indonesia, like 20 million followers on Instagram.
Wow.
So we got to talking and then sabi niya, itong mga ginagawa sa Pilipinas, they're trying to emulate it in Indonesia. And Ayala was actually mentioned there. Na because the malls offer wide open spaces.
Yes.
It's very walkable. It doesn't feel so secluded. So sabi niya, yung trend now in Indonesia is to follow that lead.
No, good.
Yeah.
That's very
And it's coming from him na parang yung open space. So I was taking him to mall here. Naglakad din kami sa mga gardens. And then sabi niya, that's how the conversation came about him. Parang ang ganda din na we were able to, at least from the Filipinos perspective, meron din tayong na-contribute na, at least inspire that also.
No, that's very good.
Yeah, and it was you actually who designed that.
Thank you.
You know what? You and I were working on a few projects together.
Yes.
Right? Not, yung iba, hindi pa namin na-announce. Pero I actually learned a lot from you just in the short time that we've been working together. Ang dami palang kailangan i-consider. The irrigation, the depth of kung anong mga species dapat, anong depth ang ilalagay natin na yung soil depth natin.
Yes.
Do you think that these, especially here in the Philippines, we're moving forward slowly when it comes to education, when it comes to that, and how architecture and landscape architecture are starting to work a lot more together?
Compared to the United States or other developed countries, yung nursery industry nila, maganda na talagang well-organized. For example, dito sa Pilipinas, hindi ka makahanap ng malaking instant tree that you can use for a project. Amihan ang bibilin mo, maliliit. Yung diameter niya, mga pinakamalaki, 4 inches lang. Pero sa States, for example, makakakuha ka ng mga diameter ng mga 8 inches diameter. Ganun. So, on day one of the opening of the project, malalaki na yung
maganda na siya agad.
Yes. Dito sa Pilipinas, maghihintay ka pa ng matagal na panahon bago lumaki yung...
It's still maturing pa.
Yes.
Kasi alam ko sa labas, I haven't seen it here, especially in Cebu, yung mga nagka-hardball talaga sila ng malaki. When it comes to that though, di ba pag mas malaki yung tree, it's more susceptible to not surviving the transportation. Is that true or is it just something in my head?
I think that's very true.
That's very true.
Kasi pag binod out mo yung tree, maraming factors na papatay dyan. Yung transportation, yung movement, yung cutting ng roots. Kaya dun sa States, nakakuha ka ng malaking tree kasi na-establish na yung roots niya. Ilagay na nila sa isang malaking container. So pag minove yun to the project site, malaki na talaga, established na, meron ng dahon. While dito sa Pilipinas, pag transfer mo, nawawala yung dahon, namamatay. So maghihintay ka na naman ng 6 months before
it actually starts to grow again. Why do you think that is though?
Compared to them, bata pa yung industry natin. Compared sa States, hundreds of years. Dito, bago pa lang tayo nagsisimula.
Bago na. Pero do you think it's getting there?
Oh, it's getting there. Natututo na rin yung mga contractors. Makagawa ka na ng medyo malaking caliper na trees. Unfortunately, medyo konti pa lang yun.
So, architect, ano yung mga new trends around the world that we can parang bring home to the Philippines?
Wala naman masyadong technology na bago eh. It's more on how the landscape architects manipulate the design. You can use simple materials and yet come up with innovative ideas. So detailing ng swimming pool, for example, yung how you treat the edge will give it more sophistication. Paano mo tinitreat yung edge, even dun sa, kunyari, water feature na cascade. Sa isang lugar sa Las Vegas, yung The Aria Hotel, meron dong cascade na malaki, malawak. Pero yung cascade niya, hindi uniform. Ang bagsak ng tubig is sporadic. Kaya napakaganda, napaka-mesmerizing when you see it. Meron namang mga fountain na iba naman yung flow ng tubig. Sporadic din yung dating, yung mga ganun. With regard to the hardscape, like stampcretes, these are bagong innovations sa It's very practical kasi madaling gawin.
Mura.
Di masyadong mahal as opposed to tiles.
Yes.
They're beautiful but meron din mga drawbacks. After a few years, medyo yung namumutla yung kulay. Pero pwede namang tapalan uli. Marami nang gumagamit dito ngayon.
Ito mga rainwater catchment, is it part of your scope?
Oh yes, very much so. Sustainable practice of landscape architecture is very prevalent now sa industry namin. Kasi in-encourage yan dahil for green architecture and environmental sustainability. Number one, in any development, ang pinaka-importante yung preservation ng existing vegetation. Marami kasing, kunyari, developer, hindi naman siguro nila alam, iniisip nila parang padali yung development nila. Putulin na lang natin lahat ito.
Okay.
So, by doing that, mapapadali yung buhay natin. Pero, with landscape architects, the thing that they do is they work around it. Kunyari sa isang particular site, merong vegetation. Sa planning stage, ang ginagawa ng landscape architect is plan the development such a way na yung mga buildings, iniiwasan yung mga trees.
Important.
Oo.
trees.
Tulad doon ginawa namin ni Alex Medalla doon sa
Tambuli. It's very
Tambuli.
good. Yeah.
Oo.
Yeah.
As much as possible, we preserve most of the existing trees.
Yes.
Gumawa si Alex ng mga butas doon sa building
Ganda nun.
in order for the trees to jut out
Yes.
at hindi siya mapatay or maputol.
Yes.
The decks, constructed decks, in order to preserve the existing trees. So those are the things that we do for sustainability. The other thing is the rainwater catchment. Ulan. Pagka bumagsak yan at pumunta sa gutter, from the gutter it will go to the drainage channel. It will go to the creek. It will go to the river. It will go to the ocean. So nasayang
Yung tubig.
tubig, hindi mo nagamit.
Yes.
Sa ilalim ng lupa, may tinatawag na aquifer.
Yes.
Aquifer is like a river underneath the ground.
Yes.
Ngayon itong river water na to nagagamit natin for many use. We use it for watering, for cleansing, for many other things.
It's usually very, very clean.
Yes.
Oo. We're actually using irrigation system also for the rice na meron tayong mga rainwater catchment. The development we're working on to be announced in the future also has that. Can you talk to us more about it? Diretso lang ba yun? Like, okay, rainwater, diretso papunta sa isang tank, and meron ba yung mga filters or mga processes that needs to go? And how does it prevent? Nagpa-prevent ba yun ng flood, whatever?
Meron tayong tinatawag na mga detention at retention ponds. Nakakatulong yun kasi pag malakas ang ulan, usually nagkakos ng ng flooding at saka yung mga landslides. In order to avoid that, gumagawa tayo ng detention pond. It's a temporary holding tank or holding pond para hindi bubunusok yung tubig. And it will slowly dissipate and mapiprevent natin yung mga catastrophe na gano'n.
Yes.
With regard to your question, yung rainwater detention, usually ginagamit ito sa mga, as I said kanina, flushing, cleansing, irrigation ng mga halaman, gano'n. For kung gagamitin mo naman as potable water, you have to filter that. Yes.
Nasa naman natin yun, code natin talaga, diba? That you have to have a rainwater tank to do those types of things.
Doon nga sa bagong mga environmental compliance, nire-require nila na nire-require dun sa, kunyari sa verde or flushing water will come from the gray water.
The gray water.
Gray water, what I mean by gray water, yun yung madumi na finilter, dumaan na sa STP, sewage treatment plant. So, ibig sabihin, nilinis na yung tubig, pwede na siya pang-flushing
ng tubig.
ng toilets.
Yes.
Regarding the sustainable practice, one of the other things that we are doing now dun sa mga gardens is creating rain gardens.
Rain gardens.
Or swales.
What is a swale?
Swale is parang ditch, pero medyo swabe yung paggaano niya. Tapos this is covered by grass.
Okay.
Ang purpose niyan, para yung rainwater dyan pupunta. So, magdi-dissipate siya sa aquifer underneath the ground.
Okay.
The same thing that I discussed kanina.
Parang detention pond.
Parang detention pond. The rain garden, it's a depression in the garden. So kapag umulan, mapupuno ng tubig yun. Meron yung mga halaman. It's a nice looking garden. But pag wala na yung ulan, wala na siya tubig. So same purpose, magdi-dissipate yung tubig dun sa ilalim ng lupa. So basically,
So from time to time, it kind of like plays with the rain and
Yes.
okay, meron kang parang konting lake and then nawawala na
yes,
naman.
yes.
Okay.
So, major trend yan sa mga development ngayon.
Gawin natin sa project natin.
Gagawin natin. Marami ako nakita project ngayon dyan sa Laguna. Even industrial parks, mayroon mga ganun. Kasi siyempre, industrial park, usually, parang mga factories lang yan. Pero ito mayroon mga rain gardens, which is good.
I also understand itong mga rain gardens or even yung mga fountain sa mga lakes na ginagawa, it also contributes to the temperature, diba?
Oh, yes. Of course.
Pag meron kang fountain na nagaganyan, like, it's amazing to me how landscaping and landscape architecture, parang the initial isip ko kasi, yung landscape architecture, okay, siya yung mag-specify ng tanim. Ngayon, it's more holistic than that.
No,
After working with you and after learning about these things, like when you see, I think to a greater scale yung mga ginagawa sa mga Singapore, I don't know, yung amazing. I hope we can get a lot more of that in here in the Philippines.
And to add to that, ang feeling ko kasi, one of the things that you achieve when you develop a property, landscaping-wise, you get an inner peace or a comfortable feeling when you are there. For example, pag nakatingin ka sa building, na-admire mo yung ganda ng building and then you walk away. Pero pag sa landscaping, nakita mo yung landscape, you sit down and absorb the feeling, the nice feeling that you get in admiring a certain environment, a certain nice feeling pagka nandun ka.
Lalo na pag mataba and healthy yung mga parang it brings you back, it makes you more grounded. But iba yung emotions and mentally it becomes healthier for you.
Yun, yung support emotion. I-invoke ng emotion. So, for example, pag nandun ka sa Greenbelt, you're always tempted to sit down and absorb it.
Slow down.
Hindi ka lang dun nasa lumalabas ka, ina-admire mo yung beauty ng nature. So, it's a very good feeling when you're there.
Even your project in Tambuli, when I first went there, I really told my wife, like parang, I like how they preserved everything and they centered the whole architecture around the existing vegetation and existing trees there. Like sobrang tanda na, I would imagine, mga trees there. Like, and you get to experience it. And parang siyang nafe-frame You know, parang, these are things na kung hindi siya nilagyan ng building around it, we would never even go there. Kasi sobrang, hard to get there. But because it's framed and because it's highlighted, ang ganda ng experience.
I agree.
I'm sure, architect, there's a lot of students that want to follow in your footsteps. Ano yung mga advice mo for them?
I graduated from the University of the Philippines. Now, there are 4 universities that offer landscape architecture. One is Bulacan State University in Bulacan, San Carlos University in Cebu, and University of San Agustin in Iloilo. When you want to engage in landscape architecture, you have to have a heart for it. Ako kasi, nung bata pa ako, mahilig na ako sa art. Mahilig na ako mag-drawing. I have a great appreciation for beauty, for nature. So this will help a lot.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Ang dami namin tanong sa'yo. Pero thank you so much for coming all the way here and sharing your wisdom. Truly, it's an honor to have me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm honored too.
We hope to do more projects in the future. Ang dami pa nating naka-line up and to be announced very, very soon. Sobrang ganda yung mga ginagawa natin, guys.